Hello everyone and welcome to the Balaton Park circuit for round 2 of our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. It's our second race for our Trofeo Pirelli cars that will be taking to this 4.1 kilometer circuit in just a moment or two, and expecting a great race from our Trofeo Pirelli and AM drivers. We're situated just outside the Lake Balaton. It's quite a holiday area for Hungary. And it is the second round of our 2024 calendar, which sees us next after Jerez, having been to Mugello, and of course here in Balaton. Then it's Portimao, then La Casale, Nürburgring, and Imola, completing the 7-round Ferrari Challenge Europe 2024 calendar. What a calendar it is. Lots of spectators to enjoy the Ferrari racing that we have here in the sunshine in Balaton, which at the moment bathed in sunshine. Track temperature is 40 degrees, air temperature 25, 51% humidity, and 2 kilometers of wind, 2 kilometers per hour of wind, I should say. So that's the way the conditions look for our 30-minute plus 1 lap race to come. Some harmless high cloud around at the moment, and plenty of blue sky as well, as ELO said, Mr. Blue Sky. Certainly blue sky appearance from Claus Zibrandtsen during qualifying for our Pirelli AM drivers, who are delineated by the white strip across the top of the windscreen. Claus Zibrandtsen goes from P1, P3 in the grid overall, but P1 within class. It was Philippe Barron that put it on pole position overall, and is the best of the Pirelli drivers. Pirelli drivers with the red strip across the top of the windscreen, Pirelli AM drivers with the white strip across the top of the windscreen, and with the sunscreen across the strip of his windscreen or forehead is Nico Spalek, who's with me for the afternoon. And well, if this Trofeo Pirelli race is anything like the Copa AM race that we had previously, it's going to be a humdinger.
Yeah, absolutely, and such a great competition here, both in the Pirelli and the Pirelli M classes, and this Balaton Park circuit has proven to be a really, really challenging circuit. It's narrow, it's quick, and you really have to take your picks in terms of where to try and overtake. Turn 1 is always a pinch point, and this man, Philippe Barron, did it best in qualifying, put it on pole.
Yes, 1:34.033, and if you had to identify a driver that's going to be difficult to overtake, Philippe Barron would certainly be in the top 10 list, I would suggest. He knows how to put his elbows out, and first and foremost, you've got to get close to him. One young whippersnapper that could do that is Luca Engstler, potentially. He's going from P5 overall, but it's P4 within class. Luca Engstler here for substituting for his father, France, who is missing this weekend. Get well soon, France. And Luca doing a fine job. Great to see him in a Ferrari Challenge car. Philippe Barron then from Giacomo Altoe on the front row of the grid, and here we look back a little bit further on the grid. Then it's a packed grid with lots of people here enjoying the racing. It's Max Mugelli that we're looking at now, and Max Mugelli goes from P5 within class, but it's P8 overall, so quite some way back on the grid, and he's another one of the drivers that's going to have to be doing some overtaking now. Ben Svalent was always threatening to put it on P1 in qualifying. In the end, it was P3 in class. It's actually P4 in the grid overall, a 1:34.402 for the young Hungarian star, Ben Svalent, Nico.
Yes, indeed, and Benz had put in a good lap at the very end, which was disallowed due to a track limit infringement, and that is a topic for the qualifying, but I'm sure it will be one that will rear its head also for the race, where drivers who run off the track and gain an advantage, that's something that race control will have a keen eye on.
Very much, and basically the rule is you can have 3 track limits infringements in the race, but once you go to 4, you then pick up a penalty. And those time penalties can be critical. Of course, in qualifying, it meant your lap that you suffered that track infringement. Track limits infringement means that you lost that lap time. In the race, you'll get 3 chances. And once you've done 3, you go to 4, you get time seconds in 5-second order. And they can accumulate as well, Nico. You don't just get a 5-second time penalty and then that's it. If you continue to repeat offend, you get another 5 seconds, then another 5 seconds. So it can be very costly.
Yes, indeed. But let's see. 30 minutes plus 1 lap will be our race distance for all our drivers. And it's going to be very hot inside those cars. So staying within the white lines is going to be challenging, even in the best conditions.
So, yes, there was quite a battle going on in qualifying between Philip Barron and this man, Giacomo Altair.
Hi everybody, I'm Giacomo Altair, racing driver for Emil Frey Sportivo in the Ferrari Challenge Europe Pirelli Pro Cup with the number 2 car. Come with me for a lap on the Balaton Park circuit. One of the most important spots is for sure turn 1. You come from a very long straight with a very high speed, so the braking there is crucial, and for sure it will be a critical point for turn 1 with all the cars coming together. So for sure a critical point here are the 2 chicanes. They are quite slow and narrow, and it's really easy to commit a track limit. A really good corner for the overtakes could be turn 10, because you need to open the line to try to be quicker for the exit, and there is a possibility for sure to try to overtake, so let's keep an eye on that. One of the best spots of this track is for sure turn 7, a really high speed corners. It's not flat with this car, so you need to play with the weight transfer of the car and with the throttle, so it's a really nice spot to try to make the difference in quality. Thanks for watching, and be sure that you follow us.
Big thanks to Giacomo Altair, then giving us just his view on the circuit here at Balaton Park. What a great sight that is of our Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM cars lining up, ready to do battle for 30 minutes plus 1 lap. Up next, we're going to hear from our Trofeo Pirelli AM P1 qualifier, Claus Zibrandtsen.
So first of all, the 296 is a perfect motorsport car now. We have the power of the car, and even when they've taken out the hybrid system, it's very, very quick. The aerodynamics is also now to a standard where it's, as I see it, competes with GT3 cars, so it's very quick. And of course the braking is kind of superior for me, because now you need to be diligent on the brake pedal, and it stops significantly well. I lived up in the early 90s, had the poster on the wall above the bed and looking at especially the F50 at that point. So it's quite natural for me to go for Ferrari, of course, and it's just a lovely brand and a lovely atmosphere around Ferrari. Of course, my ambition will be number 1. I never go into anything to just being number 2 or number 3, but of course it's a very hard challenge. I've never been successfully racing for a number of years, so this is a huge step up, and the other drivers are great and they are super experienced, but of course I'm aiming to be at least on the podium, but the win will be a success for me.
Big thanks to Claus Zibrandtsen for taking time to talk to us. He is going from P1 in our Pirelli AM category. That's P3 on the grid. Brilliant qualifying from Claus Zibrandtsen. Then, as we look at the Richard Mills safety car, let's get ready to go racing. So Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli, and Pirelli Am then. I remind you, the Pirelli cars have the red strip across the top of the windscreen. The Pirelli Am drivers have the white strip across the top of the windscreen. And here we go then as formation lap gets underway. It's always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge, and Philippe Baron vigorously weaving from side to generate some temperature into the Pirelli tyres as all the cars leave the grid now. And they do 4.1 kilometers initially behind the safety car. Safety car peels off into the pit lane, and then it will be the responsibility of Philippe Baron and Giacomo Altoe to control the pace of the rolling start. Philippe Baron pole position, alongside him Giacomo Altoe then onto row 2, where we find Claus Zibrandtsen and Bens Valint, two very dangerous drivers potentially from there. Claus Zibrandtsen, the best of the Am drivers. Luca Engstler going from P5, and Marco Zanazzi goes from P6 on our grid. Then it's Andrew Morrow and Max Mugelli. They are P7 and P8. Andrew Morrow victorious in Trofeo Pirelli Am yesterday. Hendrik Viol, Hanno Laskowski, P9 and P10, completing row 5. And on row 6 we find Herbert Gies and Laura Villars. On to row 7, it's Gianmarco Marzialetti and David Akabadzi. They go from P13 and P14 ahead of Kim Eriksson and Otto Blank. And from P17 it's Armin Arifpour, and from P18 it's James Owen in a spare car following a slight off yesterday. So we wish all the drivers well for this 30 minutes plus 1 lap. And of course it is Philippe Baron that is going from pole position.
We went in the wrong setup direction yesterday in the race and in qualifying, so we made a big change over the night. And we were able to attack in today's qualifying, managed to achieve the pole, battling Altoe, which is a great competitor. And this afternoon in the race, we are going to fight for the victory.
There's no doubting that. If anyone's going to fight for victory, it's going to be Philippe Baron, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always interesting when you're your own team boss and your driver. Who do you blame? Yourself, always. I think for Philippe Baron and Giacomo Altoe, it's fairly straightforward. Claus Zibrandtsen, he's our Ram driver, he's our pole setter, and in the middle of several Pirelli drivers. For him, it is going to be a very delicate situation. You try to hold your position, but equally there is no point in fighting with the Pirelli driver, so he has to be very careful of how much risk he takes during the start.
You're absolutely right. He's going to have Luca Engstler and Marco Zanazzi right up his trumpet. But Philippe Baron and Giacomo Altoe. Philippe Baron, of course, with years and years of Ferrari Challenge racing experience, and not only racing experience, but driver management experience as well as a team boss. But back to driving in the sharp end, if you will, in the 296 Challenge car. So Philippe Baron is going to be, I said right at the beginning of our program, if ever a driver was going to be difficult to overtake, Philippe Baron would be on my top 10 list. However, Giacomo Altoe is made of stern stuff, you know, and he's not going to have it all his own way, is Philippe Baron. So this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. So looking forward to this Trofeo Pirelli Race 2 of our weekend here in the Balaton Park circuit as all the cars come streaming through that double apex turn. The Richard Mills safety car will peel off into the pit lane. It is the responsibility of Philippe Baron and Giacomo Altoe then to control the pace as they head towards the start-finish line then, and the lighting gantry, and then it is the pinch point, which is turn number 1. So gradually the speed increases. It's almost a perfect start, I would suggest, as the lights go out, and let's go racing. Good start from Philippe Baron. Good start also from Claus Zibrandtsen, but Giacomo Altoe on the second part of the start has got some real pace, and is he going to squeeze Philippe Baron? It's a real dig-dog battle for P1 in this race as Giacomo Altoe has got the inside line and does usurp Philippe Baron for the lead of the race. And meantime, there is plenty else going on behind as that pinch point claims several victims. But making hay while the sun shines then, Giacomo Altoe, what a brilliant drive. He was absolutely determined. It was almost in the second phase of the start where he really came good. And Andrew Morrow has obviously got a problem, and that has caused him to drop down the order. We didn't quite see that because our focus was on the Giacomo Altoe really going into Philippe Baron. And, well, Philippe Baron is running in P2. Bens Valint up to P3, then it's Luca Engstler at P4. So you've got some very, very contested drivers there as various bits of Ferrari 296 are picked up. And now here comes Philippe Baron. He will be utterly furious that he got caught napping at the start. I don't think he was napping by any means, but Giacomo Altoe just got a better start. And Bens Valint, the local hero then, the young star that's making his name in the Ferrari Challenge is running in P3, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew Morrow, as you said, he got spun around in any event. He was able to continue, so no threat of a safety car or a race suspension for the time being, so we can focus on all the action that's going on. And a great shot from our race leader, Giacomo Altoe, at the Philip Barron car.
So you've got this situation with the top four. Look at Luca Engstler really trying to generate temperature into those tyres. You've got 3 young drivers in the Ferrari Challenge who are P1, 3 and 4. And in the middle is the slightly older, dare I say it, Philip Barron. He's no old man by any means. But Giacomo Altoe, definitely a young star. Ben Svalin, also young star. Luca Engstler, also the same. Philip Barron, though, all his years of experience, he'll have to call on all of that experience to try and provoke a mistake from Giacomo Altoe and wrestle back the lead that he feels should be his.
Absolutely. Claus Zibrandtsen, we talked about him before the start. He held back a little bit, dropped 2 places, but he's still firmly among the Pirelli drivers in the AM. Second is Marco Zanazzi, third Hendrik Viol, then it's Laura Villas with a good start in P4 in the AMs. And that means Claus Zibrandtsen, he has Max Mugelli as a Pirelli driver behind him as a cushion.
So Andrew Morrow then dropping down the order, and that is as a result of a coming together between Andrew Morrow and another car as well, which is very, very unfortunate, but Andrew will fight to continue, and Andrew Morrow was, of course, race winner yesterday. Talking of race winners, here's Giacomo Altoe. He's not a race winner yet, but he's certainly leading the race by some 7/10 over Philip Barron. As Philip Barron tries to get closer under braking, we ride on board with Giacomo Altoe, who is in that P1 position. So yeah, through the turn they go. A final turn here on this 4.1 kilometer circuit, and fastest lap comes from Giacomo Altoe as the tyres are up to temperature now, and he's able to get going. Claus Zibrandtsen sets the fastest lap in the AM drivers. No surprise there, really, as Philip Barron tries to close in. What he needs to do, he's got to keep with Giacomo Altoe here to have any chance. I have to say, the likelihood of Giacomo Altoe making a mistake, I think, is pretty unlikely. So the incident involving cars number 11 and 4 in turn 2 is under investigation. So basically it was a coming together between Herbert Gies and Andrew Morrow that caused Andrew Morrow to drop down the order, but he's making his way back. He's up to P16 in the race overall. So Andrew Morrow, again, another talented young driver racing here in the Ferrari Challenge, will make his way back up the order, I am sure. Meantime, Giacomo Altoe is trying to build a margin between himself and the hard-charging Philip Barron. Ben Svalent also wants to maintain his presence so that he can join this party and make it a 3-way fight for P1. But at the moment, Philip Barron has got a bit of a margin over Ben Svalent, and then it is Luca Engstler who is running in P4. Claus Zibrandtsen leading in the AMs ahead of Marco Zanazzi and Hendrik Viol. And here you can see Max Mugelli. There is the car of Luca Engstler. But this then is the, I can hear something there, and that's the number 89 car of Claus Zibrandtsen, who was leading the AMs. He'd been overtaken by Marco Zanazzi, and now he finds his car sideways and beached in the gravel, and I have to say, Nico, unless he can get that car out of the gravel, you know what that means? It's potentially going to be a safety car, which will be just what Giacomo Altoe does not need, because he's got 9/10 of margin, and I rather think that car is beached and probably is not going to be able to get out of there. So in replay, he's just carrying too much speed. He locks up. Hendrik Viol is able to take advantage, and that's just an error, isn't it, from Giacomo Altoe? Sorry, not from Giacomo Altoe, but from our Claus Zibrandtsen at that time, down to P2 in Trofeo Pirelli AM because he'd been overtaken by Marco Zanazzi.
Yes, absolutely, and it looked really like he just locked up. It's a little bit curious that he lost 2 positions in the previous sector, so maybe he had something happened before which may have taken his attention away. Whatever, we don't know. We will speak to him after the races. We met him before. You've seen him, very, very communicative person. I think we will get a replay of the start fairly soon and see what happened there.
Well, just as we see this replay, the safety car has been called for. So Philip Barron initially getting a brilliant start, but then Giacomo Altoe in the second phase of this start, Nico, that's where he came good. Now, he had to be really, really brave going around turn number 1 because it's on the outside line. Bear in mind, at this point, the tyres are relatively cold. he had supreme confidence. And hopefully we'll see the cars around turn number 1, because that's where he really made a difference, because the outside of turn number 1 becomes the inside for turn 2, and that's where he made it stick. There you go. He was right alongside, and there you could see the coming together then. But here we can see from a different angle then as the cars got going. And Philippe Barron initially with a very, very good start. Giacomo Altoe, as I say, in the second phase of this start. And that's where he already had his nose in front, going around the outside, and then managed to keep it on that, as we can see from our drone here. He puts his nose in front, and there you can see Andrew Morrow having gone around. A good avoidance from a number of other drivers as well, as regrettably yesterday's race winner in Trofeo Pirelli Am finds himself having to point the car back in the right direction again, having had an assist, one assumes, from Herbert Gies, and therefore Andrew Morrow has already made up 3 or 4 places since that incident, and of course the safety car will be great news for him. And well, here we can see from being on board with Giacomo Altoe, that's how close they got. Brilliant onboard shot, loving that. And it was a great overtake from Giacomo Altoe. He had to be so brave around turn number 1. We're with the safety car now, leading the cars around, and you can see the cars vigorously weaving from side to side. In fairness, Nico, the tyres had really only just got up to operating temperature, and now, of course, they're always going to be cooler because we're running at a slower speed behind the safety car.
Yes, absolutely. So we've got Giacomo Altoe, Philippe Barron and Ben Svallind, our top 3 drivers in the Pirelli. And as we see Claus Zibrandtsen, and he's got a bright future in his racing. He's got a bright future, of course, also this season. It wasn't his day today, which means in the Pirelli Am it's Marco Zanazzi, Hendrik Viola, now Laura Villas running in P3. One of the drivers who had a difficult qualifying and therefore didn't figure high up the order was Hanna Laskowski. He is now up to P7, and the safety car for him is maybe a little bit of an advantage because it bunches up everybody together, and he will have ambitions for the season and potentially also still for this race for a podium.
You're right. Laura Villar, such a talented young lady racer as well, and great to see her in the Ferrari Challenge up to P3, and richly deserved. Of course, we're not far away from the Le Mans 24-hour race. And Nico, I just want to remind everyone that the museum, the Ferrari Museum in Maranello, there's real activation about the 24 hours of Le Mans between the 14th and the 16th of June in the convention centre inside the museum, subject, of course, to availability on the Saturday between 3 and midnight, live coverage of the race, and then on Sunday between 9 and 1600, live coverage of the race. In the simulator area, the F1 inside the museum is available on reservation, and a temporary exhibition inside the Ferrari Museum of the 499P, the 2023 car, limited to weekends and some following days. This to remind you that the Museo Ferrari will be open during the 24 hours of Le Mans. So if you happen to be in that area, that's a pretty good place to check out the action at the Le Mans 24. Right, back to this then, as we are behind the safety car. And who's going to be able to take a real benefit from this safety car? Potentially Philippe Barron, potentially Laura Villas and Hendrik Viol. And of course, also Andrew Morrow got turned around right at the start of the race. He's going to be able to really make moves, potentially on the likes of Otto Blank and Kim Eriksson, etc., etc. A lot can happen, Nico.
Yeah, a lot can happen. Hanna Laskowski, as we already identified, he would be one to watch, I believe, from P7 in the AMS. But yeah, I mean, Philippe Barron, you already touted his experience, and it's going to be very, very tricky to get on terms with Giacomo Altoe, but get ready and keep everything to yourself, because safety car in this lap is what our graphics say, and that means the tension is building in the cockpits, in the pits.
We were in the Engstler Motorsport Garage looking at Roland Hertner and the team, of course, who engineer the Luca Engstler car for Going Motorsport and Engstler Racing. And then, of course, we went into the Emil Frey Racing Garage, which engineer the Giacomo Altoe race leading car, may I mention. So for the Pirelli drivers, it is Giacomo Altoe, Philippe Barron and Ben Svallind. They are the 1, 2, 3. For the AM drivers, it's Marco Zanazzi, Hendrik Viol and Laura Villas. And the safety car is coming in at the conclusion of this lap. The one that's looking cool, calm and collected here, if I'm honest with you, in the top 3 is Ben Svallind. He would dearly, dearly love to win this, what is effectively a home race in front of, I think Benson, his father Tibor, were telling me some 500 guests that they've got here at Balaton Park this weekend.
Yeah, great to have so many people here from the local team supporting the local drivers in various classes, but it's going to be a tough ask for him. So 2 more turns to go, and then we will be green again.
Well, when Giacomo Altoe accelerates, Philippe Barron's got to try and anticipate when he's going to give it 100% on the loud pedal. I think he's done that really rather well as we go back to racing once again. Giacomo Altoe leading from Philippe Barron and Bens Valent, and then it is Luca Exler and Max Mugelli. Then it's Marco Zanatti, Hendrik Viol, Lara Villars, Gianmarco Marzioletti. He's running P4 within Class P9 in the race overall. So, being hounded by James Owen, who's wearing slightly different colours today to the colours of his 296 yesterday. So, there is Bens Valent then, P3 for the Hungary driver. And there you can see, really chasing hard now is, well, Giacomo Altoe is not doing any chasing because he got away very, very well. But Bens Valent is certainly trying to take this to Philippe Barron. And let's take a look in replay here because good avoidance there from the 2 cars coming together of Hanno Laskowski and David Akabadze. David Akabadze in the number 23 car, Hanno Laskowski in the 86 car. So 85 car, I beg your pardon. Whoa, Giacomo Altoe just losing the back end of the car a little bit there, Nico. Just bringing those tyres back up to temperature again. Got to get them through that heat cycle. It will take a lap at least to bring them back to where they need to be. But Philippe Barron, for the moment, is some 8/10ths behind Giacomo Altoe, who is leading. And then it's about the same margin between Philippe Barron and Bens Valent, as you can see from the timing screen on, not the timing screen, from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. Try and give you as much information as we possibly can of all of our drivers, whether Pirelli or whether Pirelli Am.
Yes, and we can see that Hanno Laskowski has now made the move on Akabadze's stick, so he's moved up to P11, which is P6 in class, so he moves up the field. And Philippe Barron, if he was hoping to get on terms with Altoe, he hasn't quite made it. There is an attack, but I don't think it's quite close enough, because as you already said, the inside on turn 1 will become the outside on turn 2, but then again, very different lines.
James Owen is really pushing here, isn't he? James said to me earlier on today that actually he felt this car he was more comfortable with as well. That is a mistake from Gianmarco Marzioletti. Well, that just played nicely into the hands of James Owen, and I can't help but feel, Nico, the pressure that James Owen was placing on him contributed to that error, in my opinion. So there you can see a number of cars coming through, including David Akabadze and Kim Eriksson as well, and of course Andrew Morrow, who is trying to really move up the order now. Andrew Morrow, who was, well, you can see, has got something loose on the back of his car as a result of the very, very opening lap early coming together, and he trying to make his way up the order. He was race winner in Trofeo Pirelli Am yesterday. Race leader at the moment in Trofeo Pirelli is Giacomo Altoe, who's really, really increasing his margin. And here we can see, and I just can't help but feel that perhaps the pressure from James Owen was enough to provoke that mistake that came. And not only was James Owen able to take advantage, but several other drivers as well. Top 3 in Pirelli: Giacomo Altoe, Philippe Barron and Bens Valent. Top 3 in Trofeo Pirelli Am: Marco Zanatti, Hendrik Viol and Lara Villars.
Absolutely. It's been fairly calm on the track limit side of things, partly because of the safety car, but
do be quiet.
Drivers have been really, really consistent for the first half of the race, and now obviously when the tires start to go off at some point towards the end of the race because of the heat and all the pressure that the drivers put on them, that's obviously where they get a little bit more slippery and you tend to exceed the track limits a little bit, but let's see, for the time, all calm on the track limits front.
Well, you say that. Philippe Barron, who is running in P2, has had 2 track limits warnings. There's only one other driver that's had a track limits warning, which to my knowledge is Hanno Laskowski, the ML Ferrari racing driver. There you can see our P2 and P3 drivers in Trofeo Pirelli Am, Hendrik Viol and Lara Villars. And it's an interesting shot. Here is Giacomo Altoe. P1, and P1 by a margin of 2 seconds over Philippe Barron. Bens Valent trying very, very hard to reel Philippe Barron in. And of course, if Bens could get closer to Philippe and make Philippe make a mistake and exceed the track limits a further couple of times, he of course would pick up a time penalty. Not saying that that's going to be a strategy of Bens Valent in any way, shape or form, but it's just another possibility where he could earn a position potentially. Giacomo Altoe at the moment driving a very, very quick car and driving it completely well within the white lines as well. He's a hugely talented young racing driver and loving his time in the Ferrari Challenge here. So he crosses the timing line, puts another lap in the book where we have 13.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Luca Engstler just slowly trying to get closer towards Benz Valent as well. Benz Valent driving the number 86 car that you can see center picture right now. There's Luca Engstler doing the chasing. So at the moment, Luca Engstler not in a podium position. However, he would love to do that before the end of the race, and it's not beyond the realms of possibilities. We ride on board with Benz Valent, the Ferrari Budapest Rosso Corsa racer. Really pushing hard down behind the start-finish straight. This is another straight before the right-hander here as we brake hard. Just take the apex, making sure to keep at least a pair of wheels on and within the white lines as, well, Hanno Laskowski really on something of a mission here as he's getting ever closer to Laura Villars now, having dispatched James Owen. Interesting.
And indeed, obviously Laura Villars, she holds that final podium place, but James Owen is not giving up. He's trying to come back, not quite there, but now obviously Hanno Laskowski is in that sandwich and he would like to make the move stick immediately, and he goes for it, and that was just...
Oh, and James Owen just collects the rear wing of the Laura Villars car, which is side on. And please, we hope every other driver manages to avoid, and they do. And Laura Villars manages to get the car pointing in the right direction again, but she'll probably receive a meatball flag for a piece of loose rear wing there, Nico. I wonder what that has done to the James Owen car, potentially. It was initially really good avoidance by James Owen, just managed to catch the bag. And Hanno Laskowski then diving to the inside here. I don't think Lara was even aware of the fact that Hanno was there. And here you can see James Owen takes avoiding action, but the car of Lara is still moving. And that's what just caught the back end, if you like, of that rear wing on the James Owen car.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're absolutely right. Laura Villars had no idea that Hanno Laskowski had even overtaken James Owen. And
I think you're right.
He was trying to move up the order and get out of that sandwich. And sometimes it just happens. Well, let's see what the outcome of that is. I have to say, Giacomo Altoe has really stretched his legs. He's now 3.5 seconds up the road from Philip Barron, and that's quite an impressive margin. Benz Valent not quite been able to make use of that situation and catch up with Philip Barron.
What this means is that at the moment, Nico, in terms of Pirelli Am, of course, James Owen is in a podium place, isn't he? He's running P3, so it's Marco Zanazzi from Hendrik Viola and James Owen as we ride on board with Giacomo Altoe. Then the ML Ferrari racing driver who's leading this race, as Nico has mentioned, by some 3.5 seconds now over Philip Barron and Benz Valent, and then Luca Engstler. So as we ride on board with our race leader then, new white line that went down on Friday night with regards to track limits to make sure all the drivers don't shortcut that chicane. And I have to say, really smooth and flowing, and drive-through penalty for car number 85 for causing a collision. That decision made very quickly by our race stewards. And in there as a driver advisor this weekend is Niklas Nielsen, one of our hypercar drivers, the Ferrari factory driver. He's acting as a driver advisor, seeing it from a driver's eye perspective. And, well, it has been decided that car number 85 should get a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. Probably fair.
Yeah, Hanno Laskowski, I think it was just... I can understand it. He was just in the thrill of having overtaken James Owen, and the idea of making it 2 within 3 turns certainly was very attractive to him. But race controller said, yeah, no, that was overambitious, and you are at fault for that coming together. And as a result, Hanno Laskowski has to take the slow, painfully slow way through the pit lane.
And Hanno's a great driver and a very fair driver as well. There would certainly have been nothing malicious about that at all. It's just an unfortunate circumstance. But Hanno Laskowski does take his drive-through penalty, and he returns now out on track. But it does mean that he returns in a P10 place.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would like to use this opportunity to point out how fair the racing is, and it's, I think, only the first or even only second drive-through penalty for a coming together with another driver that we've seen all season, and that's just a testament to how fair the driving and the racing is.
Yes, I completely agree with that. As Marco Zanazzi then for CDP Pinetti Motorsport leads for our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers, and there you can see the yellow and purple car of Hendrik Viol, who is chasing down in P2. And Hendrik Viol, who drives for the Scuderia Prague team, I have to say has been really, really impressive driver. And he is getting closer to Marco Zanazzi. He's taken some 2.5 tenths out of the Marco Zanazzi time. So, when and where is Hendrik Viol going to go for the lead of this race? We will see. What have we got? 8.5 minutes plus 1 lap. Where's the time gone in this race? Goodness me. Gone by in a flash, really it has. Giacomo Altoe leading for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. And Marco Zanazzi leading in our Pirelli AM drivers. And this is the battle that we're watching right now as Hendrik Viol has his metaphoric fishing line out and trying to hook the Marco Zanazzi car ahead of him.
Yeah, and Hendrik Viol is the only driver in the in Pirelli M who's finished on the podium every single time as a P3, a P1 and a P2, and he would like to make it 2 P1s. But he can certainly also see the benefit of adding another P2, but you know, he's a racing driver, he wants to win.
Of course. A black flag with the orange disc is going to be shown to car number 5. There it is, confirmation on the screen. And that is commonly known as the meatball flag, and it's basically to say that there's a piece of loose panel work on the car. Be aware of that. And that has been shown to driver of car number 5, which is Laura Villars, regrettably getting called out by Hanno Luskowski. And there you can see the reason for the meatball flag. So the Zenith Scuderia driver, who is hugely, hugely talented, and her days of success in the Ferrari Challenge will come, and they're not very far away, I can assure you of that. Such a pacey driver. So Marco Zanazzi from Hendrik Viol and Andrew Morrow. And James Owen now is dropping down the order, Nico. I just know from the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen. So it's Andrew Morrow, who got turned around right at the start of the race, who now finds himself in a P3 position. Yeah. That's remarkable.
Yes, absolutely. And we didn't quite see what happened. James Owen certainly lost 20 seconds on the last sector, so we'll watch if he picks up the pace again, or if there is something permanently that limits his speed. But as you say, Andrew Murray is now in P3, and there is maybe the answer.
Here it comes then. And so James Owen, Trofeo Pirelli AM driver then, into the chicane, piling plenty of steering lock on there, probably too much steering lock to try and control the slide, and around the car goes. So it was purely an error there from James Owen, which played nicely into the hands of Andrew Morrow, who of course got turned around right at the start of the race, now finds himself at least in a podium position. Laura Villars, I regret, is retiring the car, it looked like to me. The Zenith Scuderia driver, as Giacomo Altoe continues with his quest at the front with a margin now of, is that 6.2 seconds?
Yeah, indeed. What's closing up is Luke Angster is coming fairly close to Ben Svelland with less than 6 minutes remaining. The gap is now less than half a second, so that could be one to watch for P3 in the Pirellis.
Well, let's see. Luke Angster would love to take a podium here in his first running in the Ferrari Challenge. Here is our race leader, Giacomo Altoe, then into the right-hander, which is turn number 1, which really is almost like a hairpin, comes back on yourself, and you're sure enough, you're right, as Luca Engstler shows his face to the inside of Ben Svelland. He's really harrying Ben Svelland now. This is the fight that's going on for the final podium place in Trofeo Pirelli. And Luca Engstler then, young whippersnapper. So too, young whippersnapper is Ben Svelland. Side by side, but Luca Engstler has got the inside line here. Oh, but brilliant driving from Ben Svelland, who was able to carry more momentum. And, well, Luca Engstler has clearly got the pace. He's all over the back of Ben Svelland, trying to find a way by. Ben Svelland, though, keeping cool, calm and collected and just holding off the Luca Engstler car. Can he hold it off, though, for a full 5 minutes plus 1 lap? It's going to be a tall order. It's going to be a big, big ask. And, of course, do bear in mind that the more these two fight, so Max Mugelli can get onto them as well, because sure enough, as they fight, they are slower. And Max Mugelli is getting closer as well. So all of a sudden, it could become a 3-way fight for the final podium place. Let's see how this develops then. So Ben Svelland we ride on board with. That's how close Luca Engstler is getting. The absolutely brilliant racing between these two young drivers in the Ferrari Challenge, Ben Svelland and Luca Engstler. Which way is Luca going to go? Ben's late on the brakes. Luca, not quite so late on the brakes, tries just to make sure he keeps the car within the white lines, which he did. I mean, they are within a tissue paper between them as Luca Engstler dives to the inside, but again Ben Svelland is maybe in a better position with more momentum. It depends whether Luca Engstler is able to get a slingshot here along the start-finish straight. They are absolutely side by side. Here comes Max Mugelli. I said keep your eyes on him. So if Luca Engstler can hang it around the outside here, but Ben Sverlin squeezes, it's his right to do to protect that position. And the big beneficiary could be Max Mugelli. But no, he wasn't able to hang it around the outside. The cars could not be closer if they were welded together, and Luca Engstler goes through, and so does Max Mugelli right now, Nico.
Yeah, not quite sure why, but Ben Sverlin lost a little bit of momentum on the outside there, and all of a sudden he lost 2 positions, and I think he's losing more. He has got a problem. I didn't see it coming together. I didn't see anything to that effect, but certainly Ben Sverlin, to the huge disappointment of the thousands of fans here in the grandstands, is losing in this case, and Luca Engstler is up into P3.
Wow. Extraordinary racing, absolutely brilliant from our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. And forgive me, I don't say many things that are right, but I did say just keep your eye on Max Mugelli, didn't I?
Absolutely. There is... It just got slower. I think they touched a little bit, but I didn't see anything strong enough that would have caused that, to be honest. Let's see again.
I'm not sure there was a touch, but I could be wrong. I mean, Luca was lively. And, yeah, I'm not sure about that, even from that on board. I'm not convinced they touched, Nico. I don't very often disagree with you, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the order is Giacomo Altoe, who has got sufficient margin up front that he's going to just call into a lay-by and check his emails, I would suggest. He's 9.4 seconds ahead of Philippe Baron, who's running P2. Luca Engstler now is P3, but he is going to be hounded by Max Mugelli, I would suggest, all the way to the checkered flag. We've only got just under 2 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. In the AM drivers, it's Marco Zanazzi from Hendrik Viol and Andrew Morrow, who I remind you was turned around right at the start of the race. And again, brilliant driving from Andrew Morrow, who has made his way up to P3. 5-second time penalty for Otto Blank, 10 seconds time penalty for James Owen on the cumulative basis. I need to lie down.
Ben Sverlin, unfortunately, has come into the pits. He's now on his way out again, but obviously that has ruined all chances for him to finish on the podium. Hendrik Viol, as we see, he is still hounding Marco Zanazzi. We've got 1 minute and 15 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. That means probably 2 more laps at the end of this one.
Hendrik has got to think about the long game, and I think he does. He's got a cool head, Nico. He's got to think about the championship, hasn't he? He's had such a good run of success that banking points, sometimes it's more important. Ultimately, Hendrik is a racing driver like any other racing driver. You want to win, don't you? But sometimes discretion is the better part of valor when it comes to points haul. And maybe Hendrik is just thinking with his head here.
Oh, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he won't go for a daredevil move, but there is still 2 more laps to do and still a chance to pressure. And there is another scene of Ben Sverlin in the pits.
Puncture, Nico. And to be fair,
that was the other side.
It's the wrong side, isn't it? Yes. To contact side. Oh, it's very rare that I'm right, but yeah, that's really, really unfortunate for Ben Sverlin, who is a superstar. And do you know what? That is such a shame. There is Luca Engstler running in P3. Meantime, here is the battle for P1 in Trofeo Pirelli AM, and it is between Marco Zanazzi and Hendrik Viol. They are pretty close together, and for the moment, Marco Zanazzi, as he's done for lap after lap after lap, it's hold on to this and not be pressured too much by Hendrik Viol. Hendrik Viol, engineered by the Scuderia Prague racing team. Marco Zanazzi from the CDP Pinetti Motorsport team. And, well, both teams have delivered fantastic race cars for these drivers, that's for sure. And they've really, really been fighting for this P1 spot in Trofeo Pirelli AM for pretty much quite a bit of the race, to be honest with you. Giacomo Altoe, 11.5 seconds to the good over Philippe Baron and Luca Engstler P3. Father Franz is really going to help him in terms of his recovery from his poorliness as he sees his son take a podium in Ferrari Challenge for the first time of asking. So we're on to the final lap now, the final lap for Giacomo Altoe with 12 seconds to the good. We're on board with Hendrik Viol. It's now or never for Hendrik. As he crosses the timing line, he has 1 more lap to do. And he is chasing down Marco Zanazzi, but as I say, he'll be very well aware of the fact that banking points for P2 in class is always going to be better than, as Nico has said, go for a daredevil move to take the lead of the race. However, his ambition is such that, of course, if an opportunity presents itself, he ain't going to say no, thank you very much. So, Altoe, Baron, Engstler, the top three in Trofeo Pirelli. In Trofeo Pirelli Am, it's Marco Zanazzi, Hendrik Viol, and Andrew Morrow, remarkably, from having been turned around right at the start of the race. Great racing from all of our Trofeo Pirelli drivers, whether Pirelli or whether Pirelli Am drivers, and none better than this man, Giacomo Altoe. He took his chances right at the start of the race and had to hang it around the outside of Philip Barron, but he was confident enough to so do, and you know what? It worked for him, and he's never looked back, Nico, with a margin of 12.25 seconds. I mean, it's a brilliant drive from Giacomo Altoe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Philip Barron, that will be a little bit of a comfort that he sees,
Yes.
Actually, obviously, I would have liked to defend P1 at the start, but with that speed difference, maybe today P2 was the best I could achieve. Well, I'm not sure he will actually think that, because he always will think that he would have been able to defend it, but Giacomo Altoe takes the checkered flag.
Indeed he does. He is a race winner in race 2 of Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. What a weekend he has had. And Marco Zanazzi then has seen off the charge and challenge from Hendrik Viol as he heads towards the checkered flag to take the race win in Trofeo Pirelli Am. What an awesome race from Ferrari Challenge. Absolutely brilliant from start to finish. Even the safety car was entertaining to a degree. I mean, there's so much going on in that race. And wow. Giacomo Altoe from Philip Barron and Luca Engstler. They are the top three in Trofeo Pirelli. In Trofeo Pirelli Am, it's Marco Zanazzi, Hendrik Viol, and a remarkable recovery drive from Andrew Morrow to take P3. So again, valuable championship points banked by Andrew Morrow. Good stuff indeed, and well done to the Emil Frey Racing driver Giacomo Altoe, finishing with a remarkable margin at the front, Nico.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, he once released first from Philip Barron and then from the safety car. I mean, there was no looking back, and I think it's just fair on this very track. Giacomo Altoe today was unbeatable, but it is a very, very competitive field, and heads off to Marco Zanazzi, who, with all the turmoil around him, in front of him, behind him, he really, really kept the cool and held off Hendrik Viol, and a well-deserved podium. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing him in Parc Fermé, to be honest.
Oh, it was an awesome race. It really was a joy to call, but there was so much going on. Trying to keep across everything that was happening was terribly easy, but big thanks to our production team who managed to keep my headphones alight with information, Nico, so grateful for that. Wow, really enjoyable. And there you can see the mark of a fine racing driver, Giacomo Altoe, saluting not only the fans but also the marshals as well. That without them we couldn't enjoy this wonderful sport that is oh so beautiful, but for some drivers can also be quite brutal. That's why we love it. And the Ferrari Challenge, none better. Into the pit lane they come. Philip Barron will be among the first to go and congratulate Giacomo Altoe. Philip is uber competitive, no question about that, but respect where respect is due, and I'm sure that will be the case. So the cars park up in front of the respective number boards then. And we await Giacomo Altoe and Philip Barron to jump out of the car, or their respective cars. Giacomo just taking a moment to think about it. I mean, it's been a brilliant weekend for him, 2 out of 2, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look forward to their reactions. And there is Luca Engstler. I mean, he has, well done, Giacomo. He's such a talent. But to step into the car with this level of competition and try to be competitive is a tough ask. And he has done it and claimed a podium, which he can take a trophy home, and which will... His father will approve of that, I think.
Oh, I think so. So Marco Zanazzi then. Hang on a minute, we're trying to park here. Great to see. Love seeing those emotions. Here comes the classification then, confirmed. Giacomo Altoe then taking the win from Philip Barron P2 and Luca Engstler P3. Max Mugelli P4. Ben Svalent, hard luck to Ben Svalent having to finish P5. In the Trofeo Pirelli Am, Marco Zanazzi from Hendrik Viol and Andrew Morrow. Then David Akabadze, Kim Eriksson, Gianmarco Martioletti, Otto Blank and James Owen occupy the top 8 positions. And then it's Armin Arifpour, and regrettably, we saw retirements from the likes of Laura Villars, Hanno Laskowski, Claus Zibrandtsen and Herbert Gies. So we await the podiums, and the celebration's going to be loud and proud, I feel sure, of what was a stunning race. And Giacomo Altoe and Marco Zanazzi then are victors in Pirelli and Pirelli Am. We'll hear first of all from Giacomo Altoe, winner of our Trofeo Pirelli race.
Here at Balaton circuit, 1 pole position, 2 victory and 2 record lap on the track. But I think that you made your victory today on the start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my strategy was to try to overtake Philip already in the first lap, and because I knew that our pace was going to be good. Of course, I didn't know about him, but yeah, the plan A, let's say, was working, so then I could pull away luckily, and then I was managing a bit. So really good results and really good weekend, of course. Really big thank you to the team. The car was a rocket, so really good starting point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
The car was a rocket. Well done to the ML4i team. Up next, we'll be hearing from Marco Zanazzi, our Trofeo Pirelli Am winner.
Marco, congratulations for the result for today's race. A big result for you and for your team, important points for the championship. But I want to discover more about your strategy and how you built with your team this race.
I mean, we learned from yesterday because we did the qualifying yesterday and we struggled the tire because we did too many laps. So today we did the opposite. So we did just 2 laps, and so we saved the tire for the race. So at the end, that strategy works, and of course, it was a tough race because, I mean, we all behind, anytime, all the race long, it's quite difficult to manage, but, I mean, the result is good. And I'm really happy for my team and my driver coach because, I mean, somehow, they deserve it, so I'm really happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to you.
The humility of the racing drivers I always find fascinating. Thanking teams, thanking driver coaches. They know that behind them is a whole support clan of people that help a racing driver take success. Enjoy the highlights now. We get to meet a lot of racing drivers, and I have to say, you won't get a paddock full of nicer racing drivers than in the Ferrari Challenge, I really don't think. Best progress, Max Mugelli for Trofeo Pirelli, Kim Eriksson for Trofeo Pirelli Am. Just look at the total overtakes. In Trofeo Pirelli Am, some 31. Absolutely fantastic stuff. We're going to head up to the podium next. 2 podiums to come. 1 Trofeo Pirelli and 1 Trofeo Pirelli Am. Of course, we'll see the top 3 drivers from each of the classes. So there is the podium. Of course, it's what every racing driver is targeting at the end of any race. And to the very right-hand side of the picture, I was going to say you could see Michele Mambelli, who'll be bringing these. He's kind of in charge of podium celebrations and podium ceremonies and does a fine job. And he'll be bringing the drivers out for the podium shortly. And as soon as we get them out there, then we will bring that activity to you, of course, because you want to see the emotions of the drivers. And I think I can hear Michele now launching into the podium celebrations as we do Tazev and various other drivers down there. And that's the camaraderie that you love to see here. As Luca Engstler, well done, friend, climbs to step 3 of the podium. Here's Philip Barron then, P2 for Barron Motorsport and Go Motorsport. And on the top step of the podium, Giacomo Altoe, P1 again. Handshakes from his P3 and P2 competitors, and here's the national anthem.
The winners sul podio.
So, trophies are about to be presented to our top 3 in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. And Mr. Antonello Coletta making the trophy presentations this afternoon to our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. He is global head of endurance and Corsa Clienti. And Antonello Coletta then makes the trophy presentation to Giacomo Altoe. So all 3 drivers in receipt of their trophies, and of course the Copa Teams trophy going to be awarded to Emil Ferrari Racing as well.
Pirelli Motorsport Manager.
And Lucio Vigani should be here. There he is with the Pirelli award that goes to Giacomo Altoe. Handshakes all round, of course, to the top 3.
Lucio near the podium, please.
And who's going to win the champagne race? Well, I can tell you from here and now, it's going to be Luca Engstler. Just saying.
Lift your trophy.
That's it. Lift up your trophies for the focus of all the media attention that's upon you. Top 3 drivers in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. I said it was going to be Luca Engstler. I'm wrong. It was Philip Barron. He knows about spraying champagne, you know.
Yeah, certain track record there.
Here are the cars then that delivered those results for their drivers for Go Motorsport Engstler Racing. It's Luca Engstler. For Go Motorsport Barron Racing Team, Philippe Barron. And for Emil Ferrari Racing then, what a drive from Giacomo Altoe. 2 out of 2 this weekend in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Well done, Giacomo. Up next, of course, we will bring you the Trofeo Pirelli and Podium. Before that, though, maybe we'll take a look at the championship points with regards to Pirelli. It depends how quickly the Pirelli Am drivers are coming out, and I think they're coming out right away. So let's get to that first of all. Andrew Morrow, what a recovery drive. He takes P3. Hendrik Viol, he's banked good points this weekend and takes P2. And then on that top step of the podium, and we heard from him earlier, he chose a different strategy in qualifying, and it worked well because it gave him the tyres in the race. It's Marco Zanazzi to the top step of the podium, and here comes the anthem. As the anthem fades out, we welcome CDP Panetti Motorsport as a representative, of course, for the Copa Team Award that will be presented shortly. So global head of endurance and course clienti for Ferrari is Antonello Coletta, once again making the trophy presentations to Andrew Morrow. May I remind you, he is the current Trofeo Pirelli UK champion. Hendrik Viol receives the P2 trophy. And the winner's trophy is about to be presented to Marco Zanazzi. Well done to all our drivers. Here comes the Copa Team trophy. And Lucio here, once again, with a Pirelli trophy to be awarded to Marco Zanazzi.
Okay, guys, take your trophy, Marco, and all on the first step of the podium. And
this is what I'm talking about, the camaraderie, Nico. Lara Villars, who had a forgettable race through absolutely no fault of her own, down there, you know, to celebrate with the drivers, which I find remarkable professionalism.
Professionalism, and I think a true sentiment of camaraderie.
Yes. Tell you what, Morrow, he was quick. Not only in the race, with the champagne as well. And Charles Hurst then and Andrew Morrow take P3. Taking P2, Scuderia Prague driver Hendrik Viol. He's had a good weekend. And taking P1, a great race win for Marco Zanazzi. Right, we're going to take a look at the championship standings with regards to Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am. Here come the Trofeo Pirelli standings first of all then. And leading the Drivers' Championship, it is Ben Svalint, who has 46 points. It's Philippe Baron on 44, and Giacomo Alto is coming calling on 34. Timo Glock is missing this weekend. He's P4 in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. And then it's Max Mugelli, and look at this. P6 and P7 in the Drivers' Championship, Franz Engsler and Luca Engsler. And there you can see the rest of the Drivers' Championship then for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Here comes the AM Championship, and the way the points look. Leading is Hendrik Viol, ahead of Marco Zanazzi. Just 2 points between them. Then it's Andrew Morrow, who's P3. He's moved up a place. Claus Zibrandtsen drops a place. James Owen and Hanno Laskowski are non-movers. David Akabadzi moves up 2 places. Danilo Del Fabro, also not here this weekend, is P8, ahead of Herbert Gies, Kim Eriksson, Gianmarco Marzialetti, Otto Blank, Angelo Fontana, Armin Arifpour and Laura Villars, ahead of Ruslan Sadriv, Matthias Doman and Andreas Berg Sorensen. So from us here for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, what a stunning Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am race we've enjoyed from Balaton Park. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.